Lord, Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief has presented Nigerians through us with the budget estimate for the year 2024. A lot of the things contained in the budget presentation today were things already known to us, and they didn't come as anything strange. Reason being that a few weeks back, Mr. President has sent to us two very important financial documents. One was the midterm expenditure framework. The second one was the fiscal, the FSP, the fiscal strategy paper. And in those two documents, certain principles and benchmarks had been proposed, which we considered in Parliament, and in both MTF and FSP reports, we had also given our approval. So the budget that was presented today was based on those fundamentals of what would be the benchmark for the sale of our crude oil during the year 2024, what would be the benchmark for the sale of crude oil, and also what would be the benchmark for our daily production of crude oil. So the presentation that was made today was consistent with the understanding that the Parliament had with the executive arm of government with respect to the MTF and FSP reports. And of course, going forward, obviously, as it was announced by the President and Commander-in-Chief, it is a budget of renewed hope. We are at a time when we need to deal with a lot of issues, which include having to spend our way out of recession. One of the happy things about this budget is that it's a budget that is ensuring that more allocation is given to capital expenditure, more than what the situation had been in the past. Are we there yet? The question is, the answer is no. It is not yet uhuru. We're still looking forward to a situation where in our budgetary allocation we'll be able to allocate much more to capital expenditure, than in the recurrent. But at least what we have is a significant improvement on what used to be the order of the day. And there's no doubting the fact that the budget is also coming at a time when, as a government and as elected representatives of the people, both the executive and legislative arm of government, we must pay attention to the kind of social discontent that we have within our body politic and within the Nigerian society. This is a time that we must pay greater attention to the plight of the poorest of the poor, the vulnerable, and this budget has helped to also address that by making special provisions that will ensure that the National Social Investment Program is sustainable, and especially being able to provide for a lot of our youth, who are not employed, and the need for us to be able to provide them with some employment and skill acquisition program, and to be able to also take care of the vulnerable and the less privileged through the various social investment programs that will be funded through the budget. So by and large, I believe that this is one budget that will speak to the urgent and critical needs of Nigerians, in all strata.
All right, distinguished sir, looking at the time frame, the budget is coming a little bit, one would say, late. Yeah. And we're hoping that the Senate will be able to scrutinize this budget properly and ensure that the right thing is done. But looking at the time frame, what should we expect? Will you be able to truly scrutinize this budget within a few weeks remaining?
Well, one thing that is clear and critical is the fact that we are all resolved to ensure that there is no retrogression in terms of what our budget cycle will be. The Ninth Assembly, working in conjunction with the executive arm of government, did so well in trying to reenact and establish the January to December budget cycle. And we are resolved in the 10th Assembly to also ensure that we sustain this. Part of the good thing or the good news about the January to December budget cycle is that when you do that, it makes it possible for our budget and the fiscal regime to be predictable. The private sector can predict us, can plan based on the January to December cycle of budget. The farmers can plan. They know when the rainy season will begin and when it will end, and they're able to plan along that line, especially when we are talking about diversification of our economy from a monolithic economy of crude oil production and sales to agriculture and also mineral development. So being able to sustain the January to December budget cycle is going to help in ensuring that we're able to make the economy to remain predictable. Aside from this, it's also important that we're able to sustain this so that that tradition, which has really helped our economy and is helping us to really grow the economy, will not also become a thing of the past. For us in Parliament, there's no doubt in the fact that it's going to be a Herculean task, but it's a task that must be done. What we intend to do is to be back in plenary by tomorrow, which is Thursday, the 30th day of November, to commence the second reading of the budget, the appropriation bill. And of course, we are going to devote the whole of Thursday, 30th, and Friday, the 1st of December, to the debate of the general principles of the budget, of the appropriation bill 2024. And after that, we will adjourn, for the number of days as will be agreed, in plenary, to allow different committees take on ministries, departments, and agencies who will be coming to defend, their budget estimates. So this will be done, and there's no doubt in the fact that the next 2 weeks is going to be an extremely busy period, and every day for us will be a legislative day. Even though we will not be in plenary session, but our committees will have to sit during the week and on weekends as it may become necessary. We also have an understanding with Mr. President that during the period of budget defense, no honorable minister or head of agency will be traveling out of the country in a way that will make it impossible for them to come and defend their budget estimates. So if we're able to do all of this, we are sure that in 2 weeks, the various committees who, for the purpose of budget passage, will act as subcommittees of the Committee on Appropriation, should be back with their reports. Submit such report to the Committee on Appropriation so that the Committee on Appropriation can collate the reports and then bring them back to plenary session when we reconvene.
Thank you so much, sir.
It's my pleasure.